coming in hot, coming in with some news. It's Mother Knows.
Knows how y'all doing today?
Yay, yay. How you doing, sis?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, good, good. It's a nice Tuesday today. Nice Tuesday. Well, okay, let me say this. It's a nice Tuesday for me. It's a nice Tuesday for you. Maybe some other people, thought that or wish that this was a better day for them. And we are speaking of the Diddy,
P. Diddy
the man known as Diddy, man known as Love.
and all his other aliases.
Girl, but it's getting hot.
Yeah.
This is the day of, it looks like the day of reckoning, right? It looks like after all of your years of doing whatever you've done.
Right.
um
I mean, honestly, at this point, we don't know. We know a few things. Like we know what Cassie has put out there. A few other people
mhm.
have filed lawsuits, but we don't know the depths of what is out there and all the
Yeah,
allegations he's
yeah,
facing.
yeah.
What we do
um
yesterday, the feds was watching.
and okay, so I think I'm gonna say this ignorantly. We watch enough shows, right? Because shows are built on some sort of truth. When you watch like the detective shows and the cop shows and the lawyer shows, all those shows, when the feds come after you, it appears like they have a pretty strong enough case to at least start knocking and beating on the door, right?
Yep.
They have enough evidence where it's like, all right, yeah, we about to go bust these doors down real quick and see what else you have inside while we catch you unaware.
Yeah. So yesterday they raided both his homes in LA and Miami. It appeared as if his two sons,
Yeah.
Justin and what's the other
Is it
son?
Christian? No.
Christian.
Is it Christian?
Christian were
I was right.
yeah, were handcuffed at the house in LA, I believe. But yeah, and I think they were detained, not detained, but they were holding Diddy from boarding his
Yeah.
private jet in Miami. So it's looking kind of it's
It's
looking
looking
kind of murky.
it's looking murky because it was looking murky about a few months ago, right? When all this stuff with Cassie came out and people started digging up old claims and other people started speaking out about him as well. And then it got quiet,
Yeah,
which to me, I mean, of course, we all have common sense, so we know like, okay, he's quiet, so he's probably building his team, building his defense, building his support, whatever have you.
yeah.
But then for the feds, child.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit in our episode where we talked about the Cassie matter, but I
Uh-huh.
mean, as like it's rare to see a settlement that quickly, right?
Yeah,
Like I mean, she filed it and then literally not within 24 hours, I believe, there was a settlement. So
yeah,
that's very rare, right? So what Cassie's case did was she settled, but the allegations were already out there, right? So we saw
yeah.
allegations.
Exactly. They're out there. Right, right,
We've
right.
already heard about his crazy business dealings. There's been for years people talking about how he basically takes advantage of his artists. So on that front, I mean, Cassie was another extreme, but on that front, at least we know that he just may not be a great ethical person
Yeah,
comes to business, at least. But
yeah.
we talking totally different when they're probing for sex trafficking.
Oof.
That's huge.
Now, but the trafficking is also attached to some of. I'm not gonna say it's fully from the Cassie settlement and documents, but some of that was in there her documents as well, right? That he
Yeah,
would
I
solicit.
think that was
He
claim,
would traffic her
right?
out. Now, I'm wondering if the settlement hurt him in a way. Because when you settle so quickly, I mean, it kind of looks like you're trying to hide something. You're trying to sweep it under the rug. It looks like you're trying to cover up, right, some of what you've done and just make it go away quickly. And so I'm wondering, like, with the feds knocking on his door and with them building up this case, if the settlement, maybe it hurt him in a way, instead of him defending himself and letting it go to trial and letting it, be drawn out. And I don't know. I'm like, maybe it hurt him.
It's tough to say. I mean, it's hard for me to say that because people settle every day. But like I said, I think it was more so the quickness of the settlement that was alarming to me. But you never know. When it comes to the feds, Cassie filed her case in March, I want to, or no, sorry, in sometime
Was it no
in
October, last
October.
October, around there?
When it comes to the feds, they've been building a case for years usually. Like it's not just that's a short amount of time for them to build a case and then to have a warrant to probe both his residences.
Yeah.
They've been probably building this case for years,
Okay.
I think. When it comes
Okay.
to feds, they do their like they it's
They
their
do their due diligence, yeah, because they don't. Because I will say, again, I'm leaning into my shows, but they don't like to come across as we were wrong. So
right.
if we come knocking on your door, like we're pretty sure like we have a solid case.
They like so in New York, for instance, the Southern District of New York has like a 98% success rate.
Mm,
That's because they don't bring on cases that they know that they're
that they're gonna lose. Yep.
and that's just the feds, and that's how they like to operate. As you know,
Well, and it makes sense. I mean, the feds, you want the feds to look like they know what they're doing, to look like they successfully go after, right, the criminals in the country and people that are,
yeah.
you know, doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things that I'm noticing, like in the discussion around this, is one, I think it brings up who Diddy has been around and maybe who else he has hurt, right? I know names like Usher, Justin Bieber, um,
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown, have come up. And I think the conversation around that is how do we protect, right, people that enter the industry younger and they are susceptible to those that are in power, and being abused in some way, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, sexually, there's some form of intimidation.
Yeah.
And then the next conversation is people on the thought train of okay, well, like everybody grabbing their popcorn to watch another black man being taken down, you know? And so for me, it's like, well, really, me being a mom, I am definitely leaning into the conversation around children and how they are protected in this space, right? In this space. I think that I feel like, I'm not gonna say think that, I feel like Diddy may have used a lot of his power to intimidate younger individuals. I mean, you remember Making the Band and Danny Kane and how he treated them on national TV?
Cassie.
A
That's just
group,
an example.
Cassie, but then I'm thinking about outside of Cassie, right? So we have Cassie, but then outside of Cassie, it's like we saw, because we didn't see Cassie plain sight, but we saw Diddy playing in plain sight treat a group of young women, a group of young, some of them teenagers trying to make it for themselves, and how he would have them do ridiculous things,
Yeah.
right? All for the show or all for, proving themselves to him. And I think we were too young at the time to really like
Yeah.
to really like have a strong stance on it. But when you think back to those episodes where these girls were literally like being talked to like they were like nothing by a grown man.
I mean, I don't even, so I hear what you're saying. I don't even get that far because for me, Cassie is enough without even knowing the
No,
details.
Cassie is enough, but
But
just to think about the scope.
just hear me out. Without even knowing the details of Cassie, even the thought of Cassie was basically right out of teenage, like basically infancy, and they were in a serious relationship. Like to entertain a relationship with someone who is basically like what 20 years your junior is just odd to me. So before we even get into the details, that's what I'm saying when I say Cassie. Like that's a prime example for me of he is open to that idea. So the industry for me, there's so much close proximity. It's one of those entertainment, sometimes sports. Those are arenas where there's not a clear, defined break in age. So, like when it comes to being a lawyer or a doctor or a psychologist, you have to go through years of schooling before you get those certifications. So, you're not surrounded by children in your everyday work. When it comes to the industry, ages are mixed in, people are working. You have young kids who are basically supporting their families and acting as if they're adults. You know what I mean? So there's just so much um, gray area when it comes to the industry that there has to be parents cannot throw their children to the wolves when they get into the industry. Like there has to be some support, some supervision. You cannot leave your children in the industry because there's too much gray. There's way too much gray. and people working with each other in age groups that shouldn't be aligned. It for me is just pretty simple when it comes to parents should not be throwing their children to the wolves when it comes to the industry. We know what the industry is now. So stop acting like you don't.
Yeah, and it makes me think of like people like, the Drake incident, right, where he was abused for a long time, and the parents, well, I'll say parents, but like his mom, maybe didn't protect him as much as she should have. But what I will say is, again, Cassie is the catalyst for opening up this conversation around this man
Yeah, yeah.
in a strong way. But what I'm pointing to is a pattern, right? So yes, we have the Cassie story in the case, and I mean it's pretty cut and dry. Like what you did to this girl is horrible. Like we could stop there, but it's building a case and a pattern that reaches just outside of Cassie to say there were so many more people that were hurt by this person, and kids, people that are hurt by other people in the industry.
Yeah.
And so that's why I look at Cassie, but it's a catalyst and lead to the larger scope and conversation to say this is a wide reach here where a lot of people are being impacted.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about. Also, my premise is not to stop at Cassie. It's just to say that with the Cassie situation, just highlights for me what he's capable of. So then it's a all right. We've seen other instances. His interaction with Farnsworth Bentley, that was always weird to me. His interactions with the making of the band kids, like you talked about. His interactions with his assistants, knowing that Kim Porter was a receptionist. Misha was an intern. These are all patterns that kind of lead to who he is as a person, which is unfortunate. But then we get Cat Williams saying you got to tell him no.
You got to tell Diddy no, you do not want to party after the after party. No, Diddy,
No, I don't.
no,
I don't want to party.
no.
You think about the Carishas of the world who are kind of like the low hanging fruit, that those people that are just excited to be attached to him and don't
Yeah,
know the depths that it could lead to when you're attached to someone like him, you know. Because
yeah,
I see Cassie as that young girl who was just excited at first, but then realized, okay, this man is basically controlling me. Like he can ruin me, and all I want to do is be, an artist, and I can't because he's pulling all the strings. So he
yeah.
definitely has exerted his power in a way that is kind of unfortunate, and you can tell, you can just see it.
And I'm interested in the Carisha angle, right? Because Carisha already had her career stamped. Like she didn't come here, she didn't come to us through Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
She, aligned herself with Diddy, I felt, because it felt appealing, it felt sexy, it felt powerful, all of those things, right? That naturally you feel when you have access to somebody with this much, power,
Power.
and resources to catapult you. Now, what I will say is I feel like her name was brought up also in helping him, like, solicit sex workers and bring and have them, come to parties and do these things. And I'm like,
We'll put it alleged on that.
alleged, right? We'll put alleged there.
Yeah.
But it was alleged that, like that she, participated in these things. And I'm like, you didn't need to, like you already had yourself in a situation where you were fine, you were doing good. So I hope that she, I don't want to, I don't want to say protected, but I hope that she didn't participate to the extent where she's now in criminal activity, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I would certainly hope. Not. I haven't heard that. That's interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely something that might be out in the zeitgeist. But I would hope that those allegations aren't true because, like you said, it wasn't necessary. Now,
Right.
I do know that she came up with the podcast on Revolt. So Carisha Please, that
Yep.
came out. Certain things like that that kind of
Yep.
exposed her to a broader reach. I'm
Yep.
not sure how the Issa rap show that she had came about, but I think that Carisha and JT were consultants on that, and I don't know if that was a connection through Diddy or not. But these are things that kind of came after she was associated with him. But I would certainly hope not, because incriminating yourself in that way, just like we saw, I forgot her name, but the um Jeff Epstein's longtime lover, basically.
The Ghislaine Maxwell
Yes.
lady.
Yeah.
I'll probably butcher her name, but
Yeah, I can't even recall it, but I think that sounds right. I
yeah,
know Maxwell, but that sounds right. But she,
she's right. She's still girl, homegirl, still flouncing about, like still living her life, right?
she's in jail.
She's in jail,
I believe so. Yeah, she had a criminal case.
huh? Okay. Well, I thought she was out.
I don't think so, girl. I think she got time.
Like she's still serving.
I think so, but don't give me the line. But I think so.
Now you're
I,
right. She was convicted in 2021
yeah,
of child sex trafficking. So,
like
um,
in it so deep that she started helping him like recruit people.
girl,
It becomes so it's such a subtle switch, right?
no, it is.
It's like I'm dating this man. He's free. He's fun. He's into all this stuff. We start having, maybe, they started having threesomes, and then all of a sudden he starts asking her to find some people, and then all of a sudden, oh, she's
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
um,
But children,
right. That's just gross. Like,
children. Now, okay, so then that leads me to
sorry, y'all. Before,
why why children, right?
yeah, before you do that, I just want to say sorry. Disclaimer: allergies. My eyes are puffy. I'm over here like trying not to scratch my throat.
Like,
uh, sorry, I caught myself a couple times. Like, okay, let me go. Yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
okay, so we got to kind of bring Sloan in there, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the famous. I'm gonna call her. Well, she does go by psychic or medium. I think she goes by medium. The famous medium. Huh?
Spirit guide or
Yeah, I think she goes by medium. And she kind of predicted like the downfall of Diddy, and she read into Kim Porter's energy and said that Kim was showing her these things, and every timeline that she gave around Diddy seemed to be accurate, right? Like she said it was gonna pop off for him around uh October, November time frame, and things were gonna start being revealed. That happened,
she
right?
actually, she actually said October 15th, and I think Cassie filed on the 16th. Like she actually gave a date.
Yeah, she gave dates. And then she said it's not over for Diddy. Like it's gonna, like I'm seeing, springtime, March, April, like things are gonna, start to unravel for him even more. And we're in March,
She,
leading into April, and I mean it's hitting the fan, right?
she said
So
Easter.
yeah.
Right around,
So
like
so
late.
according,
Sorry, I don't want to mean to cut you off, but I need to emphasize how accurate she
because
be.
I'm gonna have my petty sister moment. Hear me out. Hear me out, child.
I just need to emphasize the accuracy here. For all those who are naysayers, because I was one of them until I saw both.
Because homegirl hit me with the hear me out. Don't do that in
All
front
right.
of these folks.
Right.
But okay, so Sloan, according to her, like they had Hollywood, right? The industry, like people really empowered. They had these rituals that they perform with children. And it's on the ritual side of it, it's about like, like harnessing the energy from children. That's why they're so captivated with children, because it's about harnessing their youth, harnessing their energy, harnessing, like that's how they see it. We see it as sick and twisted and perverted, which it is. Um, on the physical side of it, how they do that, right, are sex trafficking of children, you know, pedophilia, like all of these criminal acts that they inflict upon innocent children, right? Um, but I just wanted to bring that conversation into it because I think that that gives us like kind of a holistic view of why the interest in grabbing people so young and making sure that you grab them at a vulnerable time where you can really tap into them. And I mean, it makes sense, right? In a human sense, like you can influence them, right, at a greater level. You can, influence and lead them and kind of make them do things that they don't want to do. Or they do it because they feel like it will give them access to a world that they didn't have access to before. And so I think that it needs to be a larger conversation around one, what's happening to the children in the industry, like the things that they go through and that people see, they know about, and no one's saying anything is disgusting. And then two, how do we have so many parents that are blind, right? Blind, I'm gonna say in quotation marks because I don't know, but blind to the things that are happening to their children. There, you could never pay me to leave my child with anyone in the industry at all.
Live. I don't care. I'm coming.
I'm Miss Norwood, right? Brandy, I'm Miss Norwood. Like I'm with my child wherever they go.
And crazy enough, when you think about Brandy, even Sonia, to the extent that she was there, she wasn't able to keep her from an exec who, she ended up having to marry pretty fairly young.
That's true.
She was there though. You knew Sonia was there because that was the rumor. Like Sonia don't play. When
Right.
I love seeing Yara Shahidi's mom. She's always
Yeah, always there.
she like these are people who know. Like mm, I'm not leaving my child. I'm
At
not leaving.
all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So I mean, it really is. I think it's an issue that we're going to continue to see. Diddy is not the first. I
No.
would I would love to see more of the gatekeepers.
Yep.
Diddy is obviously someone who they gave access to all this stuff, and like we've been seeing, a lot of the money and the cars and the houses, that's just for show. Like he's not really, the person pulling the strings. There are other gatekeepers that are higher up that are doing all this stuff that showed him how to do this kind of stuff
Yeah, that showed him. Yep.
that introduced him to this life. So it will be interesting to see as time goes on what will unfold. Because I know there's rumor out there that the Jay-Z's of the world and others are going to closely follow. I would
Yep.
love to see Dan Schneider, who was a part of Nickelodeon,
Mm-hmm.
investigation into him.
Yep.
There's no way he didn't know what was happening with them children.
Right.
And first of all, why are you hiring people who have charges, pedophilia, child molestation, sexual assault charges? Why are you hiring people like this on your set? So I would love to see an investigation into Dan. I'm sure that was season one. So I'm talking about I think Quiet on Set was what is the documentary is what it's called, I think.
Okay.
But it talked about Nickelodeon and how there were issues with children not being protected on set. That was season one. I suspect we're gonna get like probably, this is my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there as opinion, but maybe Disney might be next, or
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because there's rumors about all of them, right? And then of course, like you see you see like the videos of people pointing out like how they program things into the cartoons, into the like into the content. And so I do think that I really do think it'll be a dismantling of a lot of structures that have stood in power in place for a long time. Um, it makes me think too about like Britney Spears and the Lindsay Lohans, and like like say it again.
in the bind.
Amanda Bynes, yeah, 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 yeah. Even Orlando Brown, like all of these people that seem to have just went off the deep end, and it's like they didn't just get off it. They didn't just do this like because they're naturally like that.
Right, right. They were exposed to a lot young, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. But again, like parents, be mindful of who you leave your children around. Don't be so caught up in the okay, I want this amazing opportunity for my child that you forget to protect your child. That you forget that I need to hover basically airplane, whatever you want to call it, airplane mom, dad, whatever you want to, whatever the moniker is, be that. And
Mm-hmm.
if it means that it minimizes the opportunities, then so be it, because the safety of your child is of most importance.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think about that documentary again, and I forgot the young man's name, African American Black um, young man, and he was on the show. I think All That maybe with his
Yeah.
mom. I tell you, his mom was on it. She ended up getting a reputation of like, all right, like everybody on set. She was on
She's a
set, like
problem. She's difficult.
problem. She's always asking questions. She's always challenging the status quo. And he was only on the show for a season, I believe. And he
A
said,
scene? One scene?
season.
Okay, season. Okay.
That when they got callbacks for the next season, his agent called him in and said that he wasn't getting picked up, and they knew it was because of mom, right? And he said I was devastated. Like this was a way I thought I was getting my family out the hood, like
Yeah.
well. And it just devastated me to the point where like I still struggle today. Like even
Man.
my relationship with my mom, we're rebuilding, but I struggle. And she was devastated too. She's like, I know it was because of me, but I also know that I protected him and saved him probably from some stuff.
Horrific things, right? Right.
It comes with a cost always, but I mean, you would rather your child be healthy to the
Yeah.
extent he said he still has issues with, he still struggles with losing that opportunity, but rather that than dealing with, what Drake Bell is dealing with, for the rest.
Right. Right. And so then for people to be like, oh well, to take watch, eat our popcorn while another black man is taken down, it's like we have to look above race in these conversations. I'm like, and I will say in the past, like for some people, I do feel like they are targeted um because of their race.
Two things can be true.
Thank you. Two things can be true. At the same time, if someone is committing, you know, crime, sin, whatever you want to call it, against innocent people, then they just have to be held accountable. It is what it is. And you can't lay down with dogs and not expect to get fleas. I'm sorry. And so you walk into places with people that don't look like you, that have a certain amount of power, that are able to do these things and get away with it. And you think that they're giving you the same rights, and they're not. You don't have the same privilege. You can never think that you have the same privilege, because the first person to go down is going to be you.
Right, historically that's what we've been shown. It's not even just word of mouth. We know this to be true.
Right.
First target, number one, but number two, even if we still open this up to race, having a race conversation, okay, another black man taken down, but who were his victims? Because if they were black women, black boys, black girls, then
Right. Are we really mad that he's paying a being held accountable?
so I mean, I can't get down with that discussion. It's hard for me when there are clear signs that maybe this guy wasn't, living above board.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes out of nowhere, like if there's
Right.
no support for it, there's no real evidence of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
suspecting the reason he settled so quickly with Cassie is because she probably had video. She probably had
Yeah,
recordings.
she has something. She
She had
has something.
evidence that was like, all right, what we gonna do,
Yeah.
So if you have all that stuff, and this is speculation here, but if you have stuff like that to support, then there's nothing I'm not gonna ride till the wheels fall off because you're a black man.
Okay.
If you're
But black women, black men, black people are being hurt by you.
sorry.
Child, what mom always, and I know we're not the only ones that heard this, but don't get too comfortable. Don't ever get too.
And that's what we see. Like it's like, yeah, they're giving you access to this stuff and it's a facade of power, but really, who's really holding the purse strings. Like you can't really move like you think you can.
Don't ever get so comfortable that you forget.
Right. Because it's only so much access. And that's why, the Oprahs of the world, the Tyler Perrys of the world, they have to move accordingly because
Mm-hmm.
once you hit that status, you're still kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, facts. Right. You can't say certain things. You can't do certain things. You have to move in and I feel like a robotic manner a lot of times, right? Um, and so maybe Diddy slipped up. Maybe he got too loose, too free with it, and they were like, you know what?
Yeah, you're getting sloppy, you're getting messy.
Uh-huh.
The way you're moving is kind of showing your hand, which is showing our hand.
Yeah,
Gotta go.
gotta go. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what else, unfolds from it. Of course, we know more is gonna unfold. Because Sloan said
And
Sloan, if y'all haven't heard about this lady, Sloan Bella on YouTube. Sloan ain't been wrong yet about Diddy. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I try to be careful and mindful about the stuff I expose myself to. But she seems pretty responsible with her message, right?
Yeah,
There's some people who, have that kind of gift and I can't trust it because I've seen like that they're kind of callous with
they
it.
exploit it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, all right, I'm not, she doesn't have a million gazillion videos about Kim Porter. I think she
And
has.
you don't see her with like a million celebrities, and she out
Yeah.
and about, and she's very like like underboard.
So
And I mean, at the end of the day, to your point, those that are responsible with it, it's all energy. It's all, like if you can tap into the energy and frequency and vibration of someone, then I mean that's, to me, it's a pretty natural thing, it would seem like, because everything is vibration and energy at the end of the day. How
Yeah,
you use it, right?
and
That's another thing.
that's what I kind of have grown to respect when it comes to her. Is how
Yeah.
she.
So y'all might want to check Sloan out. Sloan. I mean,
She
she ain't been
said
wrong.
she said March 15th, like I think it was like the summertime. It was like months ahead, maybe
It was, yeah.
in April. I keep saying March. It was in April, and she said October 15th, and I think Cassie ended up filing her lawsuit on the 16th. And
Mm-hmm.
and like a few weeks later, she had another video up, and she was like, "Yeah, Kim, it's not over. I'm seeing dates
It ain't
around
over.
April. I'm seeing Easter time frame.
Yep.
Here we
And
are.
there's others that are, but
Gave a 12-year window for Jay-Z. So she was like 2036 or something like that. We'll see something happening. I was like, okay.
child, I ain't gonna care about 2036.
Well, she basically said, I mean, she said something about like maybe in the next 4 years it'll start, but like
Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. Okay. Well, let me lean on back in, but no. Because what did Jay-Z do? I'm kind of side-eyeing anybody in the industry. I'm just gonna be honest. And not to say that everyone is a part of this, that everyone, participates, but it gives me pause when you are in an industry that is so corrupt. That's all I'll say.
it's sad to think like that people who reach those types of heights, those iconic heights, you have to kind of side eye. But really, I mean, this world is about access, right? So the more you see people having access, you're like, how did they get that
That's
access?
where I was gonna go with it.
There's only
Nothing
like
is for free.
yeah, when there's only like 1% of the world who are, like billionaires and truly like gatekeepers, how did they get access there?
Exactly.
It's really
Exactly.
I hate to think that way because they are super talented, and you would think that people who are that talented could reach those heights on their own, but
Yep.
the world is set up the way it's set up. But anyway,
But anyway, that's all we got. Time's running out. But this is Mother Knows. You can follow us. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. You can follow us. Help me out, Ariel, because I'm gonna get these mixed up. YouTube, Mother Knows Co. Instagram, Mother_knows. TikTok, Mother Knows Co. Hey, 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 hey. Got it right.
and excuse me while I go blow my nose is
Yeah, get that pollen out your nose, child. But we love y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.